Javen, I see you backstage, but Javen, I just need to get some things off my chest and I will happily bring you in. Hopefully, we should be having Forward here and we should also be having Daniel here as well because I've sent those guys the links. I just need to just say a few things forward and then we can have an open discussion. But I want to just say a few things off my chest. First up, Liverpool 100%. Congrats for the win. Thiago Alcantara looks great. He looks good. They looked a bit shaky in that first half, but I just think that once Liverpool had the extra man, it was game over, and you just knew that their superiority would come through. Thiago Alcantara looks good. You can see what his passing range does and just how and what his distribution looks like. And Sadio Mane, LDO doing LDO things. Simple as that. LDO doing LDO things. I think with the extra man, it was always going to be a win for Liverpool because you're going up against a manager who is tactically clueless. So against 10 men, I would not. I know that Lampard does not have a flipping game plan for doing anything against him, and that's too much for him to compute. Andreas Christensen, that was a stupid challenge to make because let him go through. First of all, it was not for sure that he would have scored the goal. Even if he did score, all right, you're 1-0 down, but it's 11-11. 1-0 down into the end of the world. So how you had to, because 100% that was a red. 1,000% was completely a red. He fouled him intentionally. He was the last man, stopped a goal scoring opportunity. So 100% he was a red. So put that to one side. Lampard is not a good manager. He isn't. This man is a rookie. And I want people to understand this. I don't give a damn what you did in your playing days. What you did in your playing career is different from management. How many great players have been great managers? Maradona, he's the GOAT. Not a good manager. He's trash. That does not take away from what he did as a player. So stop making excuses for this dude because he's a Chelsea legend. He was a great player. He did everything. No. Judge him solely as for what he does as a manager. And in terms of management, this dude is a moron. People say, oh, don't get into Lampard and everything. Then let's not make it hard for himself. You have a lineup. Kai Havertz has said, my strongest position is number 10. He said specifically, his strongest position is number 10. What do you do? What do you do? That's right. You put him as a striker. You've got Tammy Abraham there. I think you've got Giroud, but you have a striker there. Why not just play striker? Play Werner left, play Kai Havertz in the middle, then fair enough, just put Mount wide. Do that. That doesn't make any sense because you can insult Kai Havertz all you want. This is a young player in a new league, and in the 2 games he's played right wing, and he's played as a striker stroke false 9. What's he supposed to do? What is he supposed to do? Because you can easily say that the guy, he's not really comfortable in that position. Daniel, I see you. Let me just get some things out and I'll bring you in. So that's just stupid. This man is a moron, and Chelsea fans who keep defending him, you're a bunch of club merchants. You are loyalty merchants. Because you're like, oh, it's Lampard, it's super frank. Forget that. Judge him as a manager. This guy is doing real life management like football manager. Oh, let me see. Tomorrow here. Oh, here. 3-4-3, 4-2-3, 4-3-1, 4-4-2, 4-4-2, 5-6-4, 5-6-5. He's just changing formations game to game. You go a man down. That's tough. You know that if you're a man down, Liverpool will have more possession. They'll put more pressure upon you. So you know that the counter-attack will be on. What are the key ingredients for a counter-attack? Speed and great passing. So you need somebody who is a very good pass specialist that can make good quick passes on the counter, and you need somebody who has speed to be able to get onto that through ball that you give them. Werner, we've got that speed in there. Kai Havertz, yeah, this is perhaps one of the best passes of the ball in the team. But you bring off Kai Havertz and you keep Mason Mount. So Lampard is trying to tell me that Kai Havertz, who I said I don't rate Kai Havertz highly, but my God in heaven, I mean, he's at least a better player than Mount. But for Lampard, you are so loyal to this Mason Mount. He is so your boy. He is such a teacher's pet that no matter, you will literally keep him on on that pitch instead of a guy who you just signed who is a pass specialist. So you need somebody to pass the ball to Werner. You need somebody to execute those through balls to Werner. Mount is going to do that. And for Mount, the guy was clueless. He was useless for the entire game, and he was still playing because through Lampard's dim-witted, thick-headed skull, he must stand by Mount because that's just his boy. So no matter what and everything, you can't brutal and say, nah, sorry, I'm going to do what's best. Because you've just chosen Mount as a guy, through thick and thin, you must play him. You're being stupid. So my thing about this is, help yourself. Help yourself. Going down to 10 men, that's hard. That's tough. But put yourself in the best position because if you had kept Kai Havertz on, we're now going for the counter and so forth, defend what they do, then boom, it is what it is. If you lose, you lose. But you lost, taking off Kai Havertz, the best passer of the ball, keeping on Mount, so there was nobody to provide for this dude. So I have no idea, but I think for Liverpool, it's like, who knows how the game would have been 11v11. But again, you just saw what your boy LDO can do, and I think LDO, he executed. I mean, those were, I forgot. So this is last before I bring guys in. Kepa. I wanted Czech to start. But fair enough, maybe he's not registered and so forth. Maybe he's not registered, but I would have still put Czech into this game. But fair enough, that's fine. Caballero ain't great. He ain't great. But it's better than that clown between the posts. That dude, he's a circus act. He's a court jester. He's not a thing. He's a flipping court jester. Did you see what this guy did? This guy was invoking his 2018 Karius. This Kepa said, HH, hold my beer, hold my granite, hold my super malt. I'm going to triple down and I'm going to give you some of that class ace flex. I'm going to give you some of that class ace flex. Watch this. Mane is 2 yards away. Check this out, HH. How do you think? I'm going to pass the ball to Mane right there and I'm going to do another major blunder. But Lampard, you're going to come out and say, I still stand by. Forget that. Just say, Kepa, nah, sorry, he's done. Well, we're putting Caballero. I'll put myself in goal. So it's just frustrating. I think this is why I want guys to really realize here and just understand here is, because I can't wait to see what Daniel, Ford, and Javen think is. Lampard has some qualities. Of course, he has some qualities, and I can see some good stuff here and so forth. But I think it's almost something that Daniel said to me some time ago where he was saying that, Lampard doesn't really have a person. There is not an actual personality within this team. There's not an actual aesthetic to this team. I'm like, how does this team play? What is their model of playing? Because you knew what Sarri was about. You knew what Mourinho was about. You knew what Ancelotti was about. You knew what Kante was about. It was what it was. Whether you like it or not, they had a specific style of how they played. If a dude changes central defenders game to game, if a dude says, I'm going to play Havertz striker, I'm going to play left, I will not be surprised if I see Kai Havertz either in goal or right wing back. I won't be surprised. I'm expecting to see him in a totally new position in the next day because this dude is playing this thing like Football Manager. I swear. Because I think Lampard is like, he's on his laptop saying, like, move. But bro, this isn't Football Manager. This is real life. You get paid for this stuff. You get paid for this stuff. So it's annoying. It's annoying because. So last thing came before I bring these guys in. Chelsea, who knows whether they're going to win or not? But if Chelsea, you play Tammy Abraham as striker, you put Kai Havertz as a number 10, you play Werner out wide. So guys are now in their natural positions. So you're giving them the best possible chance to succeed. I'm not saying that they would win, but at least put them in the best possible position. What psychopath? Kai Havertz says, I'm number 10. How do you go from number 10 to a false 9? Lampard, you're not Pep. Messi isn't in this team. This isn't 2012 Spain. This isn't Barcelona where you have Lionel Messi. The only people who have a right to play a false 9 is flipping Messi, Spain, or Barcelona. Lampard, you're from the road. You're from a pub in the East End. You're from a flipping pub in the flipping East End, Western speaking Cockney. You have no right to experiment. Keep it simple. Play a bloody striker. Play Havertz number 10 and play Weber out wide left. All right, let's get these guys in, man. Let's get these guys in. Daniel, I can see your avatar in there. So let me come first to Daniel first, man. So Daniel, just general thoughts on what you saw in the game today, man. Just general thoughts.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? Go to somebody else first because I have something to do. Plus, there's a little bit of an echo, so put some headphones into which.
Okay, Javan, general thoughts. Just overall general thoughts. I think before we get to specifics.
Listen, the lineup. I'm mad. I'm so mad, but at the same time, I'm not because the players we need are not ready. We need Ziyech. We need Pulisic. We need Thiago Silva. We need Ben Chilwell. There are players missing. I'm not ready to jump on Lampard yet. This is his season to prove it. That he can be something good.
So he did nothing wrong then, according to you?
I never said he did nothing wrong. That's not what I said. I'm saying he had this season to prove that he is not crap. And from what I saw today, I don't know. It's the first goal. The game went wrong when Christensen got sent off. If Thiago was in that team, it would be Thiago Silva was in that team, it would be a different story. You wouldn't have dumb tackles like that, dumb challenges happening. The second goal, Kepa. I can't blame. The goals were not Lampard's fault. It was dumb mistakes from crap players, and they need to get off the team. And that's what it is. Thiago Silva, that would not have happened. A different goalkeeper, that would not have happened. So those two goals would have come. It could have potentially been 1-1. It could have been 1-1. But Jorginho didn't score the penalty. Listen, I could go into this. Right now, I'm not even pissed at Lampard. I'm just pissed that our players are just crap. They're just crap. They're crap. And we need to get our signings in. They need to get fitness. They need to get their fitness so they can get in the team. I can't watch this anymore. Once all these players are here, once all our players that we signed are in and we see how it goes, then I will say, okay, you know what, Lampard, you're doing this all wrong. You're doing this all wrong. But until then, I can't. Right now, we're playing last season's team, and it is shocking. It's shocking. So I have to wait and see once everyone's in and see how it goes. I expected this for the first few games because it's still the same team as last season.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to come to specifics with you, but fine. Okay. Forward, general thoughts on what went down, bro.
Similar to Javan, to be honest. Very disappointed by the performance, but I think first and foremost, I do recognize that Lampard doesn't have all of his pieces, a lot of the expensive pieces that we assembled this summer. So, in the grander picture of things, we can't necessarily say, "Oh, how is Lampard the best team going to do against Liverpool?" and write us off because of this performance and this result when Lampard didn't have all of his best pieces. But now, to kind of move forward from Javan's point, which is obviously Lampard didn't have all of his pieces, which I understand, and I'm obviously myself a big advocate for Lampard. You have to criticize what he did today based on the pieces he had available, because in terms of how he deployed this team, I disagree with a lot of what he done. Now, in terms of the system that he went with a three in midfield and went to be a bit more compact and really to try and stifle the game. And I've not really got much issue with that as a tactic to use. I personally would have maybe went a bit more attacking, maybe went with two up front, but if you want to do that, that's fine. But then the personnel that you chose to use in this system did not make any sense at all. It was a complete contradiction of what the system should offer you. This system should offer you solidity in the midfield and then pace outlets, basically essentially wingers on the wing to give you that outlet to go and
Hudson-Odoi.
Name in point exactly that guy, but you want players like that, wingers, who can go and take the game to Liverpool in transition and go 1v1 at their players. Now, Werner, bless him, he was our only outlet today, and he tried 1v1 against Fabinho at times, and he didn't have the most success. Fabinho was excellent today. But for me, if you want to put Werner up front and have Hudson-Odoi on the wing, that makes so much more sense, and that gives us so much more solutions. Now, again, my thing is, if you want to play this style of football, you need wingers. You can carry the ball and take people at 1v1. We do not have that, for one. And two, if you don't want to play any wingers, but you want to play this style of football, you then play a target man up front who can bring the ball down in the air and retain possession for you up the pitch. Because in our own third, we can build up pretty nice, but once we got to the middle third, there was nobody that could really keep the ball for us. It was always bouncing off of Mason Mount. It was always bouncing off of Kai Havertz. And Werner, once he got the ball, never really had much in way of support to really try and link up much play. It was all very too individualistic at times. Nothing really flowed as a team. And for me, you got to start Giroud in that game, because then it automatically gives a vocal point to Werner. So yeah, for me, Lampard on that, it's a fatal in terms of what he decided to do there. But again, this isn't a date and I'll say, oh, it's all Lampard's fault. Lampard out, or he's not the manager for us. It's not. That's way too premature. But I think we can certainly question his methods in today's game. But then also, you look at it and say, while he played the formation, the system that he played, it was still 0-0 going into the 43rd minute. It was still looking okay, not great, but his tactic of wanting to keep us in the game for as long as possible was working. Until Christensen makes the individual error that he makes, bringing down Mane 30 yards from goal. Silly from him, also probably influenced by Kepa running out into the middle of nowhere, which probably made him feel more unsettled that he had to make a challenge. And yeah, ultimately we were done by quality today. Henderson's ball was amazing. It was a great run from Mane, and then from there on, it was just whether we could keep the damage limited at that point. And 2-0 at the end of it, it could have been a lot worse. So it's one of them ones where it's like, what Lampard tried today didn't work really, and also then obviously individuals cost us with Christensen's error. Obviously, Jorginho missing the penalty. That guy in goal doing what he does at this point. I mean, who can really be surprised by it right now? So, yeah, not a great day, but again, not a day for us to now say, oh, Lampard out, this, that, the other. No, you got to look at it with balance.
All right, Daniel.
Firstly, what's in that black bag? Like the drink in that black bag. What's in that? Like, that was mad. Like, you took a swig of a drink in like a black.
Oh yeah, what's it called? Copper bag.
Oh. It's like, why is he drinking a bag? Like, what's in it? But anyway,
no, we don't do no free promotion here. Come on,
come on, yeah. Thank you, man. You know what it is.
Anyway,
me. Cut the check.
Anyway, dude, I mean, are we sitting here depressed because they lost to Liverpool? I mean, what's the shame really in losing to Liverpool? They're the Premier League champion.
No. It's beyond
one of the top 3 teams in Europe, so there's really no shame in being like, yo, there was 10 men, they beat us. They beat Chelsea 2-0 in the second half with 10 men. So it's just, come on, guys. I mean, it's not doom and gloom at the end of the day. You don't have to sit here like, my God, like, what's happened? Christensen had a brain dead moment. Kepa had a brain dead moment.
And that's where it went wrong.
Yeah, Mane scores 2 goals. That happens in the Premier League. It's very easy to see. So I'm not going to be depressed. I'm not going to lose sleep.
Yes.
Not that I would have lost sleep if they lost by 7. I don't care that deep. But there are slight issues that we do have. And I think Javert and I was going to say your government name for a second. Forwards pointed out.
That is my government name, by the way. Everyone wants to call me.
No.
Yeah, that's his real name, yeah.
The issues that Javert and Forward pointed out. And probably the main one is, okay, if you're going to have Werner on the left, if that's the tactic that's been there and that was clear from the first 5 minutes, I actually don't understand the point of Kai Havertz up top. I don't or like false nine.
Please explain to me how.
Except for the fact that it just comes down to Lampard loves his children. So we need to figure out a way in Lampard's mind to play Mason Mount. That has to happen. So Mason Mount will be deployed on the wing, and Havertz will play centrally because he has to play. He's our top signing, the marquee signing of the summer, blah, blah, blah. If Mount doesn't have to play, then Havertz can take a role on the right side, and you play Giroud up top, and he's a focal point for the team. But the children have to play, at least one of them. So that's maybe the biggest takeaway from this, is that even if, because people have this ideal scenario where the midfield is Kante, Kovacic, Jorginho, or Kante, Kovacic, maybe with Havertz at number 10, and then Pulisic on the left, Havertz number 10. Who would be on the right? Ziyech, and then up top would be Werner.
That's
If
what I'm
that's
waiting.
the ideal scenario, that's not guys. Just newsflash, that's not happening because Mount is not in that 11, and he will be in the starting 11.
Which is sick. Which is sick. It's sick. It's sick.
So everybody's ideal starting 11. We might see it once or twice, maybe like in a Champions League match or something like that, or like maybe Mount played 5 games in a row and Lampard's like, okay, I'll try what everybody wants me to try. But yeah, guys, Mount will play, and I'm just trying to come to terms with that reality.
No, the thing is, I want to come in quickly. Sorry, Haitian. I want to come in quickly and say, I'm not going to take Liverpool. When I looked at the game, Liverpool are just top class, and I'm just saying that because when I was watching it, when we had a goal kick, we can't pass it anywhere. We can't play our game. We were shut out. We held it nicely up until Christensen did his nonsense. And also to touch on the Mount, like at first I was happy that this Mount character is coming through. He's cool. Maybe he can be decent, but now he's becoming like a detriment. He's detriment to the team because Lampard just won't stop starting him. Give him a rest. He's young. He doesn't have to start every game. Let's try something different. Like it's a detriment to everyone on the field because he has to play.
Okay, so actually, I mean, we'll get because Mount is a bit of a distraction because I want to just go to Kai Havertz because there's obviously the narrative amongst fans that trash, he's a flop, he's a failure, and so forth.
I don't think he is. I think we're...
Wait. I mean, I'll come to each other. So here's my thing on Kai Havertz first, and I'll come to Ford first with this. Is my thing is, I never rated him that highly. I said, okay, look, I'm using the eye test. Why is he rated so highly? Because I watched him for Leverkusen. I watched a few Bundesliga games of him. I'm like, okay, he's decent. He's good. But he's not as good as how people are rating him so highly. But then I'm speaking to Kadim, I'm speaking to German guys that say, no, this guy is the real deal. This guy is extremely talented and so forth. I was like, okay. Because I know Kadim knows his football and he knows talent with no sense and he knows the German football inside and out. So, okay, I'll take your word for it that this guy is skilled. But my thing about it is that already I've seen his talents, decision-making, passing. He is really good at those things. And I remember a through ball that he gave to Gnabry for Germany. So he's got a great vision. He's a great passer and he makes good decisions. So in the 2 games he's played, his best skills have not been able to put into the display. If your skills are creativity and passing and you played wide right, where do those skills come into play? If your main skills are creativity and vision and passing and you played as a false or a striker, where do those come through? So my thing is that from these games, first of all, do you think that people are in their right to say, this guy, 2 games, he may already be a flop, he not big, or what? Do we say that if a guy's not playing?
That's a joke.
No, but if a guy's not playing in the strongest position, it's hard to judge it. Forward. Yo, we can't hear you.
You're on mute, I guess.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so as I was saying, for me, the focus really is more on Lampard's man management, and it's not I'm not going to hear any talk about Havertz, he's flop or he's not as good as people thought he was. There's none of that. For me, it's none of that. The conversation is more about the way Lampard's introduced him into the league, and for me, I think it's pretty much a baptism of fire. We're playing him right mid / right wing back against Brighton, and then playing false 9 against Fabinho and Van Dijk. I mean, that's quite the baptism of fire into a new league. Again, I feel like there's a way you bring players into a league, and that's not the way you want to do with a 21-year-old. Yes, the price tag is in some places people want to call it 81 million, rising up to 100 million euros or whatever. But I don't know how much the guy is worth. He's a 21-year-old that's adapting to a new. When he first played that game against Everton, he only had 4 days with the first team squad. That's 4 days where he's probably trying to get a car. He's trying to sort out what house he's going to be living in. Like, he's got a lot of things that he's sorting out, as well as actually adapting to a new league. working on his English, which probably needed a bit of work. I think it's pretty good, but again, just adapting to a new league, a new team, a new manager, all these different things. And again, I feel like Brighton would have been a perfect game for him to come on with 20, 30 minutes to go when we were already 3-1 up, and to kind of just like get adjusted to the league. I think Liverpool, it's a tough game. I think it's a tough game for anybody to start up front against Liverpool, against Fabinho and Van Dijk, let alone being a 21-year-old playing kind of out of position. Because when he played false 9 for Bayer Leverkusen, they would have a lot of the ball, and he would have Vollen in and around him, and all the other midfield runners who would support him. Today against Liverpool, you're not going to get any support, which is why you start Giroud up front. So for me, it made no sense. Then again, that's my viewpoint on Havertz. But just to touch on the point that you was made about Mason Mount, which I know we don't want to divert too much onto. I do disagree with both of you guys, and I do understand when you guys say he can be a detriment to the team. Not him as a player, but Lampard's
loyalty.
Lampard's loyalty to him and wanting to really force him into the team one way or the other. And again, for a game like today, I get why you start Mason Mount on the wing. He's not a winger, but he provides. Again, people are going to laugh and say, "Oh, it's energy, it's that old-fashioned British mentality or whatever you want to call it." But no, it is important that you have somebody who's going to be able to track back against the likes of a Robertson and provide that midfield cover from a wide position. I get that. That is understandable. But then you don't do that and not have another winger on the other side who actually gives you what a winger should give you, which Mount is not going to give you as a winger. So you don't start both Mount and Havertz like that, both out of position. Maybe one of them you fit into the team when Mount can do a job there, but then not Havertz up front. It just highlights how poorly both played in this game. And for me, again, it's a red flag, not necessarily, oh, Lampard needs to go, or as Daniel said, it's the time for us to be depressed about the performance or Lampard's decision making. But it certainly calls for concern and a reason to think, it basically makes me wonder why Lampard chose to set up the team like that, and what he really thinks of the likes of a Hudson-Odoi. Because for me, this is a perfect game to start Hudson-Odoi on the right.
No, because my thing about it, I'll come to you guys, but 100%, because I know, Ford, how much you write for Hudson-Odoi and so forth, but I believe 100% there is an issue. It can't be a thing of like he's literally choosing not to play Hudson-Odoi. There must be an issue. Maybe it's a thing that the bid with Bayern, or maybe they had like a bust up in trading or something, because it makes no sense when you have Ziyech is out, Pulisic is out. The only natural wide man you have apart from Werner is Hudson-Odoi, and he would elect to play Mount, who that isn't his natural position. And you can't use the whole thing, he can't track back. No, you need someone to be able to provide that with, and who is naturally adept at going forward and understands the logistics of that position, which Mount doesn't.
Have hope. Do you remember the first game against Manchester United last season? Do you remember who played on the wing? Ross Barkley. So this is just something that Lampard likes to do. I think Ford probably hit the point perfectly, where he just wants that industrial, physical, will run your socks off, you'll run till your feet bleed. That he wants that on the wing. And if he doesn't, or if maybe he thinks a player like a Ross Barkley, who came on today, or Mason Mount, maybe I'm more likely to get that than a Hudson-Odoi, which is interesting because, like, as Forward kind of pointed out, where he kind of made it like a stereotypical British thing, Hudson-Odoi is a winger who is British. So why wouldn't you play that kind of natural winger who should, in theory, give you the kind of industry?
There must be an issue. There has to be an issue
in his natural position. It doesn't quite make sense. But if you want to keep it on Havertz, or maybe Javern, you want to touch this before?
Yeah, okay. Javern, to touch on, then I'll come to Daniel. Havertz.
I think people need to settle down. The guy has just come in and he's been put into the deep end in all the wrong places on the pitch. Everyone that is saying that he's trash are just all merchants. They're rivals. They're rival merchants, and they wanted to say that. They just wanted, like, oh yeah, he's crap. I don't see anyone talking about Thiago today. The guy gave away a penalty on his debut. And
Javern, Thiago played well.
Okay,
Thiago played well.
But the thing is, he still
I don't even think that was a penalty, by the way. I don't think that was.
Yeah, I'm not saying that was a very soft penalty.
Listen, but it was a penalty at the end of the day. Whether or
fair
not,
enough. I'm not arguing. I'm just giving.
The point that I'm making is it's gonna happen anytime a player
Whoa.
that comes in, especially for a big price. People just seem to say, "Oh yeah, he's coming at 80 mil." They expect 80. If football is not like that no more. Players don't go for what they should do. They go for, in terms of like, a club doesn't want to lose that player, so they say, "I want 90 mil for him." They know he's not worth 90 mil, but they say 90 mil in a hope that they don't pay that price to get him. So then now people have this in their head, like, "Oh, he's 90 mil worth." Blah, blah. Stop that. The guy's just come to the Prem. Give him time. He will come good. When all the signings come in, I hope to see a reshuffle with him behind Werner and Ziyech, Pulisic. Maybe he can find somewhere for Mason Mount in that team. But
No, he can't. Why does he have to? Why does he have to?
No. I'm not saying he has to. I'm saying if he
very
wants
quickly.
to, put him. Don't trouble that front there. That front needs to stay like that. Put Mason somewhere else.
Basically, my fear is, and I'll come to Daniel now. My fear is, and Daniel, that's why you actually are scaring me by what you're saying. Is I have a nightmare and a fear that if everybody's fit, Ziyech, Pulisic, and so forth, if Mount finds a way to start any game when everybody's fully fit, I think Lampard has to see a psychiatrist. He has to. He has to have his head checked but Daniel's saying, because I'm not thinking that maybe he is so deep with Mount and he's so going to prove a point that, you know what, Ziyech is fit. Oh, you think I'm playing? If you think I'm playing, I'm still going to start Mount when everybody's fit. I think that he's trying to do it to spite me. Daniel, Havertz.
Yeah. Firstly, I do think Lampard's kind of set him up to fail in these first two games. Like, wasn't there an interview that he came out and said that number 10 is my preferred position?
Yeah.
False nine is the area of a number 10, but it doesn't have the accoutrements of a number 10.
Totally different rules.
There should be somebody in front of you that you would ideally be feeding, not that you're the guy to be fed in that sense.
Yeah.
Which then, again, begs the question, if you're going to do that, if that's the tactic, Giroud's the perfect player in Chelsea's squad to get that mission accomplished, not necessarily Havertz. So that's one thing. But I kind of understand in a theoretical sense, okay, so you want Jorginho, Kante, and Kovacic in midfield because you understand what Liverpool are capable of. So it's not like you're going to play two and with a number 10 in midfield. You want the three central midfielders in there to kind of stop Liverpool playing in that sense. So that makes sense. But personally, I've been a person who's been on the side of, I don't think Kai Havertz was a necessity. So Chelsea even buying him in the first place for me is I'm not going to say it's a red card, but it's a yellow card for me because I'm looking at it in the sense of, okay, so you pay 100 million for a player in a position that Chelsea are kind of already stacked and loaded in that position. You don't necessarily need a Havertz. What you need,
defenders.
You need a center back. You got Silva, cool. You need a left back. You got Chilwell, cool. But where's the goalkeeper? I mean, the Abbey there is perfect. I guess you're going to spend 30 million on Mendy, but Oblak is maybe available. Like there's goalkeepers
No, but come on, Atletico in selling that.
Chill. But there's goalkeepers that if you add up the fee of Havertz and the fee of Mendy, which would be somewhere around 110 million euros, you trying to tell me that can't unlock some doors on the continent for a dope goalkeeper? I mean, it's possible. So for me, it's Havertz it's sexy. Like, yo, he's the next wonderkind from the German Bundesliga. It's all wonderful. Like, and because of COVID-19, Real Madrid can't buy, Barcelona can't buy, City can't spend the money, United can't buy anybody, it seems. Liverpool are struggling up until last week. Like, we're the only ones in this air quote world where that can get this guy. So go get him because it's just opportunistic. But is it what you actually need? So for me, again, it's like you need to pay rent, but instead of paying the landlord your rent, you go out and you buy 10 iPads and iPhone. You're splurging on luxury instead of necessity. So for me, Havertz, if you can do it while doing what you also need to get finished, like the priorities, then fantastic. But it seems like they went for the luxury before priorities, and for me, that was always the mistake. So in today's game is the perfect situation. We have Havertz playing in a position that's not his, and a goalkeeper who gives up a second goal looking like Loris Karius in the Champions League final. Almost. It's not that bad, but it's close. So it's just when we talk about Havertz, I'm rooting for him. I hope he does well.
Mhm.
All that comes with it, because I understand what Javert is saying, where people are attacking him particularly because of the price and just the hype. That being said, there are bigger issues in this Chelsea squad than number 10 areas and false nines, especially once you buy Havertz and Ziyech, or not Havertz, sorry, Werner and Ziyech. I mean,
yes,
that's pretty good.
So
I said this towards the end of last season, just to add on to what you're saying. When we lost to Arsenal, I said, listen, go out there and sign Oblak. I'm hearing stuff about Kai Havertz. I'm like, no. Stop right there. We need to address our defense. Go and sign keeper, defender. I don't, at the beginning of when all the Kai Havertz stuff broke, I was like, that's not what I want to hear. We need a defender. Fair enough, we went out and got Ben Chilwell, Thiago Silva, cool. But our defense is the problem. Our defense is a very big problem. And we saw that today.
So I want to just take things over to Liverpool now. Thiago. So we saw Thiago for pretty much the second half. And again, like, it was an obvious change that Klopp made. It's management 1, 2, 3. You have a man up, protect possession, keep the ball. Mm-hmm. Again, that's why Thiago was brought in, that he's a guy that really knows how to utilize the ball and so forth. So again, I want to just get you guys your thoughts on Thiago. I mean, for me, you can, again, it's only 45 minutes, but you can see what he's bringing to the team. Because yes, Henderson played that ball and so forth for Mane, but in terms of how good Thiago's passing is, the runs Salah can make and Mane can make, and you know how dangerous it's going to be for oppositions if Mane or Salah gets behind you. That is what I think he wants from him. And I think, again, because people will say that, it's going to be like a deep line playmaker. But I think what Klopp wants to do is that, bro, play further up, and I want you to play those killer penetrative passes to try and unlock the doors and really play some dynamic passes to both Salah and Mane. Because the issue, which is what Liverpool had against Atletico, was cross and inshallah, which is what your boy Trent, I think, was doing at forward. Remember, we were here, we were watching these guys do cross and inshallah against Atletico. So it's about something completely different, which is what Thiago brings. And again, you can already see how the guy's passing ability, his quality, ability on the ball is just, for me, it's on the next level to Wijnaldum, Henderson, Fabinho, and so forth. So, Daniel, from what you saw from Alcantara, do you think this is a big-time signing already?
Yeah, of course. What I find particularly interesting is that in a game where you're playing against a team that's trying to accomplish its own offensive objectives, like a Chelsea would be, a player like Jordan Henderson can put a ball through Zuma and Christensen and create a situation where a player gets sent off and all of those types of things. But what's interesting, or at least what's worrying, is I think Thiago's a player that can do that against a team that's not trying to have an offensive objective. Their intent this game is, we're just trying to stop Liverpool. We're trying to get a 0-0 draw if we can. We're happy with the point, that kind of idea. But you put a player like Thiago, who, of course, he can do it in an open game against Chelsea, Manchester City, Manchester United, teams that are trying to play football in air quotes. But against teams like a Burnley or a team like that that's not trying to play football, that are there to play rugby, I still think Thiago can do some things that will get Liverpool a goal where they shouldn't get one, or a win. He'll turn a loss into a point and a
key
point.
Pass, yeah.
So that's the worrying part, that I think he can unlock defenses that shouldn't be or otherwise wouldn't be. So Chelsea, cool. Jordan Henderson can do that, but Jordan Henderson can't necessarily get it done against a defensive team, whereas Thiago can, and that's the worrying bit.
Javan? Thiago.
I know the comments are going to come for me now, but listen, earlier on, someone's like, Javan's salty. Thiago played really well, best passes in 45 minutes earlier on in the stream. When Jorginho came into our team, how much passes was this guy dishing out left, right, and center? I am not comparing him to Jorginho. I'm just trying to say, relax, people, relax. As Hope says, stats are not everything. Yes, you can complete all the passes, but did any of those passes lead to anything? That's all I have to say. But I'm not saying he's bad. I just want to see. this will be good for Liverpool. They do need that creativity in the midfield. Their midfield before was dog. It was just very dog in terms of they were just running around. There was no actual finesse in it. And this is the finesse that they needed. So now let's see if this finesse will give them another title. I have nothing more to say on Thiago until I see some more from him.
So Thiago didn't really impress you in those 45 minutes. Just
I'm not saying he didn't impress me.
Same as George Jr. pretty much.
I'm not saying he didn't impress me. I'm just trying to say time will tell if that Thiago signing is going to be good for Liverpool. That's all I'm saying.
Forward, Thiago.
Yeah, I think Thiago in those 45 minutes certainly looked like a player who was adapting to new surroundings, his new teammates. You could even hear a couple of times, obviously with no crowd, that there was times where some of the coaches wanted him to pass it forward, and he was kind of taking a couple of touches, doing his thing, like playing 1-2s in the middle and then looking for maybe a more simple pass rather than maybe they wanted him to build it into the channels for Mane to run onto. So obviously, I think naturally these things will be a bit more. These things will be smoothed out for obviously as its adaptation period goes on. But for me, I mean, I think Thiago's really been one of my, if not probably the favorite midfielder I've had over the last few years. I mean, ever since we've been linked with him under Kante, I really was keen on having him actually play for Chelsea. And I mean, to see him join Liverpool is scary, man. It is scary. I mean, I think there's one thing that this Liverpool midfielders lacked. It's really that cultured midfielder in the middle who's really gonna take games away from teams like Chelsea were today when we were obviously quite defensive. Obviously, teams like Burnley, teams like West Brom, like teams that are going to really just defend, sit in a bank of two forwards and the two strikers dropping in and really making it difficult for Liverpool. And I think they've unlocked a new weapon to their bow, really. So it's mad for the rest of the league. And for me right now, as soon as he joined, that's it. Liverpool have won the league because if it stands as it is right now, with Man City not making any significant signings, not buying a new centre back. Obviously, as we've seen, Chelsea are quite a far miles away. And I've always said, even with the signings, we were going to be too far away to really close the gap in one season. If it stays as it is, Liverpool are 100% going to win the league. And the signings of Thiago and also Jota, who's a very good supplement to that forward front three, that's going to seal it for them. And I don't see how anybody's going to close the gap on it.
All right, so I want to go back to formations and for Chelsea and like what is the most effective formation for these guys? Because again, here's my thing, and this is where we can now talk tactics. Shout out to my boy Daniel, man. Let's talk tactics. Look, shameless promotion. Here's the thing. I'm one of those, and this is what I said at the top of the program. I said, if you're not Spain or Barcelona, you have no business playing false nine. Because in my view, maybe you guys disagree, those are the only guys that can play false nine, because the false nine formation is where you have to have extremely high IQ, extremely high ability passes of the ball. Because Euro 2012, those dudes, they won it without a striker because they had midfielders who were amongst probably some of the best midfield passes we've ever seen in a team. And one time, they had Fabregas, David Silva, Xavi, Iniesta. These are pass specialists. Chelsea don't have anyone even close to the pass specialists that Spain had in 2012 or Barcelona have had. And you just put Messi on top of that. So my thing is that I feel that a striker has to be there. Yep. So whether it's Giroud, whether it's Tammy, whether it's Werner, a striker just simply has to be there. Because for me, and again, I'll come to forward with regards to the best formation. I feel that if everybody's fit, so this is everybody is fit. I would say, so now this is where it now gets difficult, because one formation is Werner striker, Pulisic left, Havertz number 10, and Ziyech on the right. Now, if you now want to play where you want to say where Werner is most successful, you really want to use his speed, then you say Giroud or Tammy as a striker. I'll say Giroud because Giroud is just good for structure. He's just really good for structure. He's not there for goals, just to facilitate guys. So Giroud as striker, Werner left, and then this is now where it now gets tricky, because I'll just say one thing is Giroud, Werner left, Havertz in the middle, Ziyech on the right, or if Havertz is not popping off, because again, I didn't want him.
Where's Pulisic?
No, but that's what I say that. Then if Havertz is not popping off, then you put Pulisic in the dump center where he's played before there. So that's the thing. So for forward, if everybody's fit, What would the forward line be? What would you think would be the most effective forward line? Everybody's fully fit. Oh,
You're
wait,
mute again.
You're mute. Why are you muting yourself, man?
There's some things I've got to do in it. But again, to your question, I think first and foremost, it's important to understand that with Lampard, we're not going to see a settled lineup. His thing is always about having options and having a lot of rotation in the team that itself that's playing, whether it's Ziyech starting on the right and Pulisic on the left. He's going to want to do a lot of rotation. And some people sometimes might not like it, like Daniel. I think there's benefits to having a team that is functional and can rotate at the same time as well, not just being fixed in your certain position. But at the same time, Lampard's got to find, again, in that flow, he's got to find a structure to that. He can't just be kind of a mix match of where players can go anywhere where they want and you're switching centre backs every other game. No, you got to find a base with the backline and the keeper, that you're comfortable with, and then with the forward line again, dependent on form, maybe you start Pulisic most games, and maybe if not, then you bring in a Havertz. Because for me, again, if I'm going to give you my forward line that I would want to start, it would be Ziyech off the right, Werner down the middle, and Pulisic on the left. And there's plenty of games in there where if you want to go two up front, you put Giroud up front and then you move Werner to the left. And then for me, you put Pulisic in a number 10 position. And then you have Ziyech, Pulisic, Werner rotating between them with Giroud up front. Maybe time he gets a few games in there. And obviously the base in the midfield would be Kante and Kovacic. I think for me, there's almost a bit too much pressure already on Havertz. And I'm not saying it just because of the 2 games we've seen already. I thought this would have been a season for him to, if he earns his place in the team, good, but he doesn't need to be now the talisman of the team in one season at 21 years of age in a new league. I don't think that he needed that pressure on him, which it seems that Lampard's put up on him. Now he's starting both of these games against Brighton and Liverpool. So for me, I think we're gonna see a lot of rotation regardless with Lampard. We just know that's how he is. That's what he wants to do. And I think we're gonna look a lot better, a lot more smooth once Ziyech comes into the picture and he plays right wing with Werner up front and Pulisic on the left. I think that's the right line that gives us the most goals, the most creativity, and the most damage to, especially to the bigger teams as well, with that pacing behind.
Yeah,
Javan?
that's what we need. That's what we need, man. I'm like right now, these games that I'm seeing here, I'm just all I see is last season, and it's just like I know what's gonna happen. I just need to see Werner, Ziyech, Pulisic up front. Do what you want to do with the rest of the team, but these 3 need to start. Maybe Havertz could play behind them. They can even play a 4-3-3. Maybe Havertz plays in the midfield alongside Kovacic and Kante.
Wait, Havertz in the midfield, central midfield.
I'm just saying, if we do a 4-3-3.
Wait, are you smoking crack?
Havertz can play number 8. He played number 8. Not last season, but the season before. He played a lot of games at number 8.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to. I'm just saying, if you want to fit everyone, if he wants to play this 4-3-3 so much, then Havertz could play there in the midfield. Because if we put Havertz up front, someone else is going to have to drop, and who are we going to really drop? So I'm trying to say, if we want to play a 4-3-3 with Havertz, then that's where he would have to play, because the front 3 cannot change. It has to always be Werner, Pulisic, and Ziyech.
We know more and more though. Just very quickly. I think more and more, I'm not beginning to think that Daniel may be right in terms of, did Chelsea really need Kai Havertz? Because it just seems that he has come and created issues with regards to team selection and so forth.
That's what I said, because I said this. Sorry, I said this because it's Mount. Like, he loves Mount so much. So where exactly are you going to play Havertz if you love Mount so much?
And not to mention, like, where does Loftus-Cheek fit in all of this? Like,
nowhere, out of the club.
I know the comments are going to be like, oh, Ruben this, Ruben that. But the guy tore his ACL. Or not even his ACL. He tore his Achilles. So I do have slight sympathy for a man that just tore his Achilles.
He shouldn't have tore it then, innit? Like, his time's up.
Come on, Javan, come on.
His time's up, man. I'm tired. I'm tired of the excuses everyone keeps making for him. He's not good.
Okay, wait. Daniel.
No, but like the club made him play in a game in Boston on a fake football pitch in the United States against anti-Semitism, and he tore his Achilles. Like, you have to have a little bit of sympathy for him tearing his Achilles in a game that he had no business playing. All right. Now, my team would be 4-4-2. I think that's the best functional team here.
That's not a bad shout.
And it would be Kante, Kovacic in midfield. I'd have Pulisic on the left, Ziyech on the right, Giroud up top and behind him. in kind of a number 10 second striker area would be Timo Werner. That's the
I
team
love
I
that.
would play. And
Timo Werner.
Yeah, playing off Giroud.
I love that.
Kind of like imagine Griezmann for Atletico Madrid or France. Maybe that would be a better.
I think that would be so good.
But my thing about that is that
Anyway, that's the team I'm going to play on FIFA career mode. So
no. But see, the issue with that story is that you mentioned Griezmann, and whenever you look at guys with roles, you have to have specific kind of characteristics for those roles. So the reason why, as much as I call him the side chick and everything, the reason why Griezmann is so good as supporting striker is that he does not really have speed. He's not very direct, but he's very intelligent, knows how to pick up really good positions, and knows how to supply the ball. I don't think Werner's characteristics are very well suited for that kind of behind the. One of the best I've ever seen, Dennis Bergkamp. Probably one of the best sporting strikers I've ever seen.
In this scenario, you'd have Pulisic and Ziyech, who are perfect at coming inside into the half spaces, collecting the ball and distributing the play from there. So, and then that would allow, in an ideal world, Reece James on the right, Chilwell on the left to get forward. The only little issue I have with this, and obviously on the video game it'll work perfectly, but in real life, Kante playing in a two-man midfield at 29 and 30 years old, I don't think I can expect him to be 2014, 2015 Leicester and not get injured over the course of a 50-game season if they play that. So, yeah, there'll be some issues probably with injuries and whatnot. But, yeah, Havertz would be the first guy off the bench if something needs to change. Somebody can come off. Havertz comes in. You can change the formation easily. But I do think there's no excuse to have Abraham and Giroud on the bench at the same time at any game. That makes zero sense to me.
That is, I mean, basically, two strikers. You have two strikers on the bench.
It doesn't make sense, personally.
No. Okay. Before again, I'll read your super chats. I'll get to super chats for this, but I just need just an explanation to this. So try and just use osmosis and try and just travel into the brain of Frank Jeremiah Lampard. What do you think his reasoning was? So you're going up against the best team in England, one of the best teams in Europe. What do you think his rationale was? Because this has nothing to do with injuries. What do you think his rationale was I'm not going to play a striker. I'm going to now play Kai Havertz as sort of a false nine. And even shout out to your boy Fabinho, who had a monster game. But see, the issue with you saying Fabinho had a great game is he was up against Kai Havertz. So it's like, yes, he had a very good game, but you're up against a guy who's like, I'm striker.
Make it difficult, at least for them.
Yeah. Like, so my thing is that, like,
could you imagine Van Dijk just thinking, "Oh, Havertz, not Giroud. Like, this is going to be an easier day." He's lightweight. He's new here. Like, I'm good. Giroud would actually be like, "Oh man." So I'm going to be in for a challenge. I'm going to be getting elbows. It's going to be trickery and just little tricks of the trade that a 33-year-old striker would know.
Because you see, the thing about Giroud is football has now advanced now.
And I can't believe I'm saying this about Giroud, by the way, because I didn't want him. But
no. See, because the thing about it is that football has advanced to the stage where the strikers now, you don't really have to rely on them in goals. Like, Firmino averages like 3 goals every 5 years. Like, strikers now are not really main goal scorers. It's really the inside forward. So Giroud is just there to help a Havertz, because Giroud being there, Havertz, I can now play behind him and use him as a decoy to now make those late runs. Werner, I can now play off of him and so forth. So, what do you think Lampard's rationale was of not playing a striker in this game? Like, why?
It's hard. Every reason that it comes to my head is more like political. So, like, you buy a player for 70 million, 80 million, he has to play. And you have to figure out a situation where he has to play. Then you have the other conundrum of Mason Mount is my guy. He has to play. So you have 2 players in the team that have to play. It seems that, or it feels that way, in Havertz and Mount. So Giroud or Abraham could have been pretty good in that role as well, that Havertz was playing, in terms of if you want somebody who's going to press and does the running and all that kind of stuff, who's just a natural striker. You could have done that. But those are 2 players that are easy to sacrifice, at least in Lampard's mind. So,
all right. So let me just quickly hit this super chats before you guys F me over. From Martin Lozario says, Thiago ate that crap CFC midfield like food. Fire emoji. Yes, screw you.
It was against 10 men. It was against 10
Yeah.
men.
Oh,
Like, you know.
Look,
I probably
the guy is a weird man from Miami. Dr. Hess says, finally, facts about Frankly. Liverpool for everybody says that, just jumping on. Yo, Francis, though. Oh, Lord. Red Devil today says, is Havertz the German sedan asking for a friend? Red Devil, that was Abdullahi. Abdullahi, you have things to answer for. Because you said he was German sedan. I never said he was German sedan. That was Abdullahi.
Chelsea fans are the worst, man. Like, why do you jump out the window calling people Zidane
Why?
and Pele and Messi? Like, come on, guys.
Okay, so Liverpool
Where
Review
are
says that is Peter Fitz real talk. What's it called? Dad, remember when I said that Czech should start in goal, and there was a photo you
There was a picture
tweeted.
of him training. He had the helmet on and everything. I was like, well, you know,
What did he play?
find a rule.
All right.
Find the rule.
Dungo Command says, I keep saying this. Lampard's loyalty to Mount makes no sense. Bro.
It makes perfect sense, actually, because Lampard sees himself in Mason Mount. It's
In what sense?
I think when Lampard looks at Mount, he sees himself as a young kid. The diligence, the hard work, the position he plays, the goal scoring, the technique. I don't even know. They might have been born in the same place. Who knows? But I just think
You know what? Oh, no. Listen, no, Daniel, you're onto something. Because do you know what I just thought? It reminds me of that video on YouTube with Harry Redknapp and Lampard.
Yeah.
Where the West Ham fans were going on to him and everything because, oh, is this nepotism and so forth, and how they were calling him fat, overweight, and so forth. And Harry Redknapp just stood by him. And you could even see, like, even when Frank talked about this on BT Sport and so forth, you can see that it still itches him the way that he was treated by West Ham fans. Maybe he's like, Mount, this is me when I was young. Mm-hmm. So he's like, oh, there's that Nigerian dude with sunshades who calls you a piece of crap. You know what? I'm going to double down and keep on playing you. Now, the more they insult you, the more I'll keep on playing you because
in Mount's defense, I don't even blame him. If the manager wants to play you, you play. Like, so it's not Mount's fault.
Mount's not to blame at all. No way.
Mount has the cachet of, I think he went to Vitesse and was their player of the season 3 years ago. He had a whole season with Derby, with Lampard and Morris, so he knows them well. So he probably understands better than anybody else in the team what they're trying to accomplish. But you look at it, you're like, damn. So if Pulisic, Havertz, Ziyech, and Werner are all fit, that's kind of all the positions you can play, bro. So are you still going to get in? And for me, it's like, I think somehow he'll find a way. Whether it's playing three at the back and figuring it out that way, just some way he'll be.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not.
Okay. No, we'll see.
Yo, have hope. Can I ask a question?
Go for it.
Where's Rudiger?
Let me answer that.
He wasn't even on the bench, so was he injured? Like,
all
what's
right.
up?
Forward.
Yeah. So it came out today before the match that Simon Law reported that Rudiger's basically been frozen out. He found out that Zuma and Christensen were ahead of him in the pecking order, and obviously once Thiago Silva comes in, he's going to be the first team starter. So essentially, that means he was in the same position as Luiz was a year ago. So it looks like Rudiger's going to be sold this window, which, to be honest, I'm not surprised. I'm actually quite happy to hear, because going into this window or going into the season, I thought with Thiago Silva coming in, you can't have 4 experienced centre backs in the club. It's just not going to work. Somebody's going to want to have more playing time, and ultimately,
that's trash.
But do you know why that's so crazy? Because
they used him to get
Havertz. That's where I was supposed to go. That's because Werner said that, man. Like, he actually said that Rudiger was one of the key reasons why he even wanted to come, because he told him about the place. I said it's good to have someone who also speaks German as well. So Rudiger was actually one of the guys helping him to settle into Chelsea and everything.
Bro, football is a cool business, bro. It is what it is. Like,
football
you got to use them for what they're worth, and then you sell them on. And like, that's
there's
how
no.
it is, man.
I told you guys, there's no loyalty in club football. There's no loyalty in this.
Do you think that's why Havertz and Werner are going to be playing every game? Because, hey, man, we came here on part because of Rudiger's word and whatnot. If Rudiger's not here, then what's going to make me happy? Playing a bunch of minutes.
Well, we wait and see. All right, Martin Rosario. Martin Rosario says, Lord still hyping this CFC garbage with HH. I think that's in reference to you.
Can we put some respect on Mane's
You would
name
like
though,
to-
quickly? Can we have
Wait. Let me just quickly do this chat and then no. We'll talk about LDO. Just person says that Havertz is ass. Kepa is the goat. I love this game. Just
Do you
person,
actually
yeah.
have to read out
You're-
all these super chats? Like, do you actually have to?
Yeah, I know. Look, I have to. Like,
He's
I'm
contractually obligated.
I'm contractually obligated to this, so it is what it is. So even if they post trash, I still have to. At least I can sort of still slightly insult them. So I call this more on lost lesson with the Zendaya on your AVI.
Law to beat them out, they're actually there to just be pinned for people to see in the chat.
Yeah, but it's better for me to read and expose. Don123 says Jay and Liverpool everybody needs to settle this back and forth in the ring. Also, Kepa made it easy for us, and Chelsea really needs a keeper. Red Devil Studio equals Van de Beek better than Havertz. Red Devil Studio, you lost to Crystal Palace 3-1. Shut your mouth. You don't get to speak. Thank you. Bran K002 says Lampard's out of his depth. What's his tactics better? Wow. Sean C says, heard so much talk from Chelsea fans. Disrespect. You didn't hear any talk from me, man. Let's go to LDO. You see, this is what I've always said. Sadio Mane is going to always be Salah's biological father. And I think that Mane is the perfect example of it's not how many you score, it's when you score. And it's like Mane is left foot, right foot, header, aerial, long range, short range, dribble past you. He can score so many kinds of goals. See, Salah scores more goals, but a lot of his goals are pretty much the same kinds of goals. There's like a pattern to his goals.
Penalties.
Mane is like he can hit you from anywhere. And because he's so unorthodox in the way that he plays, you never really know what he's going to do or how he's going to score. Hence why for me, he's actually a more dangerous player than Salah. They're both dangerous, but for me as a defender, I'm like, basically, it's like Robin. You know what he's going to do. Just as Robin is the greatest of all time, as you know what he's going to do, but I'm still going to do it. But you have more of a chance of defending a player who has a pattern than defending a player who has no pattern and can come at you from anywhere. So, Daniel, you wanted to...
Yeah, no. Because I have this tendency whenever Chelsea concede a goal and Kepa's in goal that I blame him first. So, Mane scored that header and I was like, Kepa, he's at it again. And then the replay happened, and I was like, "Yo, you can't save that. Nobody could have saved that."
It's a great goal.
So the quality of just like we understand in the air, I think he's underrated in that sense. Where it's just like the types of headers he scores, the amount of power he was able to get onto the cross, like it was just impressive. Then obviously Kepa does make the mistake for the second one. That was pretty obvious. So I'm not like breaking news when I say that. But the idea that Mane gambles on it, and then he still had a little bit to do once he controlled the ball and he had to get it in. But yeah, I just think he's just he's a fantastic footballer, and I don't know if he's underrated. I guess people kind of understand where he is, so I don't think you can have underrated, overrated with Mane. But yeah, I think he's fantastic. Definitely Africa's best footballer for me.
Okay, so you put him ahead of Salah.
Yeah, stop it.
So what about you, Javan? Salah or Mane in 2020 right now?
Damn, that's a tough one. They're both great. Mane is brilliant. Like he's just like you said. You just don't know what you can get with him. You just switch on just like that. Look at the pass that he got onto, and then forcing Christensen to do madness. Like
Actually, no. When you would think those goals won the game, but really and truly. It was that Henderson pass and Mane getting onto the ball that won them the game.
Yeah,
it is.
Because that created the situation for
but just wait. Let me ask you guys this thing. See, now it's very easy saying it's sitting down because rush of blood, you play quick and so forth. It is what it is. But I'm trying to understand what was Christensen's logic in doing that. Because
you want me to give it to you?
I got you. Because my thing about is like. Even if he goes through and he scores 1-0 against 11 men is still good.
Have hope. Can I ask you a question?
Go for it.
If Manuel Neuer is in Chelsea's goal, do you think he tackles him?
That's not the point.
He's probably thinking, "Oh crap, Kepa."
That's the whole point I'm saying. Okay, it's a goal. Take the goal. It's 1-0. You still have
didn't
11.
look. I feel like I watched the replay enough. Maybe somebody who saw it can help me out. But I don't think he looked. He didn't know Kepa was coming. So he's thinking, if this ball goes past, it's a goal. So I need to do something.
And
now,
that's poor defending from him. That's poor.
Yeah,
and that is why he should not be in this team. That's poor. You should be reading this. From the time you see that Alisson's got the ball, know that they're going to hit the counter because we're all up in their box. You have to be switched on. Oh, shit, where am I? Let me look. Oh, Kepa. Get yourself aware. The guy sees the ball flying. He's like, grabbing on. And it's just horrible.
I think he was shitting bricks, bro. I think he was shitting bricks. If the ball goes through, I know it's a goal because this keeper won't save me.
You see, the key thing is like once you're now in that position. The key thing is fair enough. Mr. Javen, he's not read it. He's in the position. So in that position, you now have a choice to make. Either you do what he did, or you're like, I'm just going to use my speed 1v1. Let's just see what happens. My thing is, in that position, you know you messed up. It's 1v1. I'm like, it is what it is. If it's a goal, it's a goal. But it's still 11v11. Because see, what is different is what my racist friend did, Cannibal Suarez, against Ghana. That makes sense. Because that's gamble and it's paid off. It was a crazy gamble, one of the biggest gambles in football, but that gamble paid off. But this decision that Thingy made is, it makes no sense to do what is a clear full, because you know you're the last man.
It makes sense.
And you know that there's...
But you should have tried to at least keep up with him. Maybe put him off. You should try to keep up with him instead of holding him on. Like, just stay next to him, put some pressure on him. Maybe he could have scuffed the shot. You never know. But from the time you have your hand around him like that, you were always going to get sent off. VAR. If there was no VAR, we would have gotten away with it. It would have been a yellow, because that's what the keeper gave. But I'm sorry, the ref gave. But it's awful from him. At least try to keep up with him.
Forward thoughts on that Christensen thing. I mean, right decision, wrong decision, rush of blood. Because that was the game changer.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are all given a cold, calculated assessment of what he should have done. But in the moment, like, he's just having a rush of blood. He's made a mistake. He's trying to make amends for it. And maybe in the back of his mind, he knows Kepa's in goal, and he knows he's got to bring him down, or rather, he's got to try and influence him from not getting away from him so he can maybe make a tackle or something. But he's made a mistake in the moment to try and rectify the initial mistake he made, which was letting Mane get the run on him initially. So it's poor from him, and it's that individual mistake which you can't afford in games like against Liverpool.
And to be fair, in a world with no VAR, he got away with it on some Scooby-Doo.
100%.
Yeah, but because he got a yellow card. So, like, in a 2015 world, he gets away with it. But, with VAR and the eye in the sky, Big Brother's always watching, and he gets the red. So, but then if he doesn't do that in the 90th minute of the game, we're on here saying, why wouldn't you just tackle him, right? But because he does it in the 45th minute of the game, it's like, bro, you have a whole second half, so just let him go. What's the worst that happens? Like, his goal's not going to be worth 3. It's just 1 goal. Yeah. So just let him go. But then again, what are the chances he lets him go and Kepa doesn't just take him out? And now Kepa's got the red card.
That's fine. Then we get Caballero on.
Actually, that'd be fine. That's a 3-game bet. Then we got
Caballero on. Perfect. And then he's out for 1 game.
But no, actually, okay. Let me be fair to Kepa. If he lets him go, Kepa cleans it up. Like, because he cleaned it up. But who knows? Maybe
don't lie to yourself. Come on. Don't lie to yourself. You know what happened.
You know what?
I mean, for me, yeah.
Like, I've been so right on Kepa being like a brick since we're on this channel. I've been so right about him being a brick that sometimes it does feel like bullying. Like, whenever he makes a mistake, then I'm like, damn, man. Like, the agenda's been so pure and so perfect that every time he makes a mistake, I'm just like, damn, man. Like, do I really want to go in? And obviously I say yes.
But is it really bullying when he literally gives you his lunch money to take? Like, I mean, did you see that second goal? He literally said to Mane, "Take my lunch money."
By
150.
No. At this point, it's not bullying. At this point, obviously. At this point now, it's a case of where, because at the point, it's like, man, it's now like, oh, you almost expect it to happen. And you see, now this is the key thing about keepers is
I think Liverpool fans can relate to this, by the way. Like Karius,
yeah.
it's like pity. Like after a while, you just have pity for the player that.
No.
another
Daniel, I'm not having any pity for a guy who throws the ball in a CL final to a dude 2 yards away from him. That is the greatest blunder I've ever seen in my life.
No.
To this day, I refuse to actually watch it on replay.
Bale
I've only seen it
goal
once.
might actually be worse if you think about it.
Whose goal?
The Bale goal could actually be worse.
No, it's not.
He almost threw it in his own goal.
It's not worse.
It's
Daniel, I'm telling you, it's not worse.
I'm just saying
it's not worse though.
Daniel, don't argue that this point. It isn't worse. You know what it is. That's the worst blunder of all time. Like there's no arguments here.
There's two things that's just shocking. Kepa started off really well, though. That's the thing. When he came in, he started off well. He did. And then what also makes it worse is
really well.
Hold on.
Wait, Javen, did you watch the first game or
listen? When
I say smoke some stuff while you watch? And you have kids, by the way, so Javen, you can't be smoking weed while watching football games, man, or sniffing cocaine.
Stop that. I'm trying to say, when Kepa started, he was not this crap in terms of when he came to the club. He was not this bad. How did he get this bad? Second of all, do you think it's mad funny that as soon as he conceded that goal, the second one, they released saying that Chelsea has signed the other goalkeeper.
Mendy.
They signed Mendy. I think that right there, is bullying, and that is bullying.
No.
I mean, so maybe answer Javen's question. What I would say is Kepa right now, it's statistically proven he's the worst goalkeeper in Premier League history. And
sure.
I think last season, what Chelsea did is we brought in a goalkeeping coach to help with him after what Javen described as a pretty good first season. And who did we bring in as his goalkeeping coach? It's Hilario, who statistically proven to be the second worst goalkeeper in Premier League history.
Hilarious, man.
It's actually tough. The blind leading the blind. That's what it is.
It really is.
Because see, my thing about Kepa is like, you see, the thing with the keepers is that once you make one mistake and they make another one, and you know your pressure is on, your confidence just goes lower and lower and lower. And I don't know whether you noticed, there was one point in the game where after his blunder, I don't know whether it was Zuma or someone who had the ball, and literally Zuma was being pressed like crazy.
And he didn't want to pass it back to him.
He didn't want to pass to Kepa. Zuma was like, bro, it was literally like a 2 yards pass, and Kepa was like, hey, I'm here, I'm open. Zuma was like, screw you, man, and was trying to just like go his own way. So,
do you know what the problem is? Like, and I said this on the podcast, it wouldn't be a problem if they bought him from Bilbao for 15 mil, and this was just a project, a startup. Like, you got rid of Courtois. It was short time. This guy had a release clause of 20 million euros. Fine, you can make these mistakes. We expect it. To be the most expensive goalkeeper ever in the history of ever, to be making these mistakes, it's just like it makes it, however much he was worth, it makes it that much worse. So yeah, it's the expectation that you have when you're worth 70 million euros and you're worth more than everybody ever. To be making these mistakes, it's just like, nah, you can't. So
yeah. So just to round off, man. So are we all in agreement here that Liverpool defended the title, or too early to say?
I would say I'll just wait till the end of the window and see if Man City do bring in a centre back. Because if they bring in a Koulibaly or Upamecano that they've been linked with, then that maybe changes the game a little bit. But I mean, as it stands right now, Man City will score enough goals to really be in contention, but I just don't think they're going to be able to keep enough clean sheets. And if you look at this Liverpool side, who still have the goals in Salah and Mane, which, again, whether you're choosing who's better out of the two, I mean, imagine having both. I mean, they're the two best wingers in the league, and by quite a distance, in my opinion, as well. And they're both going to guarantee you 20-plus league goals. So it's amazing firepower. Plus, you've got Jota in behind who's going to chip in with a certain amount of goals as well. Maybe Firmino even finds his goal scoring touch. He didn't have a great season last year. Then you add Thiago to that midfield. You've got a back four, which is looking very settled now. Fabinho did an amazing job today. I think he was given man of the match. So that's a great partner for Van Dijk long term. And obviously Alisson in goal, who, I mean, I think people were talking about he wasn't even in the best form, but he goes and still becomes the first goalkeeper to save a penalty from Jorginho in the Premier League. So it's a formidable team. They've added to the squad depth as well. And if Man City don't strengthen their 11, then I don't see how, because Man City got a great squad, but if they don't strengthen that first 11, especially the centre back role, then I don't see how they're going to close the gap.
So what are you guys? Liverpool to defend it?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really add much.
And
Wait,
finally,
I want to hear Javan's point because Javan thinks Chelsea are going to win the league, innit? So
No. You see, I wanted to even skip because I didn't want him to come in and say on any trash. So Javan, where are you at with this thing? Chelsea to win?
Pause.
100 points?
No. Different. Do you pick Chelsea to win the league before every season, and this is just something you do,
No.
or is this
No,
like
no.
a confidence thing in the moment?
Like you
that
and France.
This is the first time I've done this, and that's mainly because with the signings that we've brought in, I believe we can, if they all play and everything goes right for us. I believe we can, but right now those players ain't playing, so I can't. What can I say? What can I say?
Your football takes, man, are questionable at best.
You can talk about football takes. You can talk
you
about
don't have to
football
scream
takes.
at your mic.
I will shout at it. I'm tired of you trying to overpower me. I will shout in my mic. Stop speaking over me. Stop trying to belittle me because you got all your fanboys in the comments coming at me. Stop. Stop it. Stop. I'm sick and tired of it. Stop.
Okay, Javan, it's fine. Relax. Okay, I can educate you on football.
I don't need you to educate me.
So
Stop.
Dore, classes starts 9 a.m. sharp tomorrow. By the way, so remember, get there early and stuff. So cool. I'll see you 9 a.m. sharp.
I think we did bear the lead, though, Half Hope. Do you realize Kepa has a 7-year contract?
No, he doesn't. That's a lie.
7 years.
Yo, Daniel, we were trying to end on a good note, bro.
No.
You see, Daniel. You see, this is why I hate you because you go and bring up these weird facts and sort of and everything, and you just ruin the whole vibe of stuff.
They gave him a lifetime deal, 7 years. You know how long? I didn't even know you were allowed to do that. They don't even let you do that on FIFA. 7 years, you know.
Bro, it's because of the bind that we were left in when Courtois left, and we didn't have any replacements lined up. We took the advice of Pepe Reina. God knows why. I mean, we ended up buying this guy's release clause. I mean, he was probably worth maybe 30 million on the market, but because his release clause is
so what you guys are telling me is that Chelsea can't offload him. Is that what you're trying to say? That Chelsea can't offload him?
He has 5 years left on his contract. Who's taking that? You can't.
Because we can't accept anything less than 60 million from him, or even 50 million from him. But right now, who's going to pay more than 30 for this guy? I mean, it's a shambles.
See, that's the issue. That
he's got to stay and people say he's got to stay and raise his value. And right now, it looks like he's almost decreasing his value the more he plays. So it's quite a bind we found ourselves.
Bro, like today, if he was worth 30, now he's worth 20.
Yeah.
So
with every mistake, minus 10 million until he's worth like 5 kobo.
But we're going to have to start paying teams to take him off of us. It's going to get to that point.
It's like, could you make the mistake in a game that's not televised? Like, make the mistake against Southampton or somebody like that. Everybody's watching this game. France, England, Germany, South Africa, Kaiser Chiefs are watching the game. Like, nobody wants it.
Okay. So wait. So Lampard, are you guys still feel that Lampard is the right man to take this team for that? I used to say, you know what? Let us wait until all the signings are in. Because see, where I am with Lampard is, I do want to just see what does this team look like and how they play with all of the signings and so forth. But 100% long term, this dude is clueless.
I'm not going to judge him until we get to see a fit squad. And after a press conference where he's like, everybody's fit. The only injury is some backup goalkeeper or whatever it is. The whole team's fit. You hear that on Friday afternoon. Game on Saturday, hour before the match. If we look at the team sheet and we don't see the lineup that should be there, then we have issues. So that's what I'm waiting on. I will reserve my judgment until we see the squad that we need to see.
I think for me, like we can have our doubts, we can ask our questions of Lampard because irrespective of the lineup, irrespective of who's available, I'm still going to question not playing a winger versus Liverpool, not starting Giroud in this kind of game. I can question a lot of that, but at the same time, when I'm seeing a lineup and it involves that Spaniard in goal, that Spaniard at left back, that Beta Mel on DM, like Christensen at centre back, there's a lot of individuals in there who I just know are not good enough for this team, and whether they might put 1 or 2 good performances in, I know that they're ultimately not going to be in a team which for me should be getting 80 to 85 points in the Premier League this season. That's for me still our goal, and that's why I'm going to assess at the end of the season.
Kepa's so bad. Alonso is escaping criticism.
But
Yeah,
it's true
it's mad.
because
It's
it's
mad.
Alonso that caused the first goal.
Yep.
It was
Yep.
Alonso
Because
that
he
caused
got
the
done. He
first
got done
goal.
on the 1-2 by Firmino and Salah.
It's disgusting.
Kepa is like a solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse. Like everything that's behind it, you can't see because he's just so bad.
So
But
basically,
Alonso-
Marcus Alonso will fight for Kepa to stay in this team because as long as Kepa is there,
Lampard's low-key
As
living
soon as
off-
Chilwell, listen, as soon as Chilwell is fit, Alonso ain't seeing the team.
Lampard's low-key living off this, man. Because it's like, well, he didn't buy Kepa, so maybe he keeps playing him. Because we'll just you know how when you watch a movie and there's like a dead body and there's actually I don't even want to go to this metaphor, so just skip it. But he's just it's a screen, it's a body shield. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, wait. So let me just say this. Now this is a weird one from Buddha Subs. Thank you for super chats. How to get highly rated as a footballer in this channel? On this channel, please be grammatically correct if you're trying to insult me. Please. On and not in. Daniel will appreciate this. One, so Daniel will appreciate me being a grammatical merchant. One, be a West African. Two, be humble and nice. Three, be quiet and shy. Got it. With a thumbs up emoji. So obviously he's referring to N'Golo Kante. And he's obviously referring... No,
Probably
actually,
Mane as well.
yeah, maybe Mane as well. So here's my thing, because I think this is obviously specifically with Kante and so forth. My thing with Kante is that, again, he struggled today. So did most of the team.
Did he?
No. There were a few times where
I think he was our best player.
Right.
I thought he was
He's
the
right.
best player
No,
for Chelsea.
I agree with H.
No. Basically, he wasn't the worst player on the pitch, but again, most players struggled. I think for me, the guy that really looked the sharpest and the best was probably Werner. But there were just times where, man, make that forward pass. Remember that when we had that breakaway and Havertz gave to Kante?
And you're going backwards. It's horrible.
But then he just controlled, went back, and you lost the momentum. So there's just times where you need that forward thrust. But my my thing about this is that it's weird. I think, first of all, people think that I hate all white players and I only like all black players. And my thing is that during this whole Black Lives Matter movement, surely that's a good thing if I'm supporting black people and sort of... Haven't white people have thousands of years of treating us like crap? Look, times have changed, tables have turned, so it is what it is. So
You think the tables are turned? It's
yeah,
never turned.
no, I don't know, but my thing about this is, and also I still love Harry Kane, but he's not world class. I'm sorry, I know. Yes, white, blonde, Captain Marvel, it is what it is. I'm not going to call him world class. Thank you. Kante, I still rate this dude, and this guy is still fully important, and I think still thinking that he's fully crucial because of the multitude of roles and positions that he can play. Because remember, this guy went from a flipping DM to a box to an attacking midfielder, and he's just been taken from here. His DM is this, but it's not helpful. And this goes to all the players in teams. It's not helpful when you have a manager who is playing Football Manager in real life. I don't know any manager in the world who changes the central defensive pairing game to game. I don't know of any manager in the world that does that. I don't know any manager that changes tactics through each game. I'm like, what are you going to play today? 3-4-3, 5-4-1, 5. That's how I play Football Manager, because I do that because I understand the algorithms of the game, so I know what formations to do to get wins, because it's still a program. I ain't doing that in real life when I'm actually getting paid to do this stuff. So it's so. I mean, where are you guys on Kante so we can get out of here? Just last word on Kante.
I think for me, Kante, by some reason, is becoming underrated in our fan base. I think some people have this perception of him where he's aging now. He had those injuries, so now he's regressed as a player. But I still remember some of his best performances in a Chelsea shirt came last season. I mean, the Super Cup against Liverpool, I thought he literally dropped a flawless performance. It was absolutely amazing. He was in a losing shirt today. The shirt that day was a shame. And even the league game against Liverpool, I thought he was very good, and then scored that amazing solo goal. And again, also our best form of the season last year came post lockdown when Kante was fit. He started as a DM, and we won all of our games until he got injured away at Palace. And then after that, we started dropping points again. So again, I don't know why people are discrediting him at all. It makes no sense to me. And I think personally, if we're going to see the start of Kante, I think it is in a box-to-box position, but with a natural sitting midfielder behind him. Because Jorginho, for as pretty as he can be in evading the press at times and 5-yard passes and whatnot, this guy is not a footballer. He's not a Premier League footballer. I'm sorry. He's not an athlete, should I say. I mean, this guy cannot run 30 yards without breathing heavy after that. I'm sorry. Like, the amount of times this guy gets bypassed in the middle, it's an embarrassment.
Is this Jorginho?
Jorginho.
Oh, sorry. His name is George. From now, his name is George. Like, I had the Eno there with the
You can't insult Brazilians like that. George.
It's George, yeah. George, I'm sorry. He's a pretty footballer and all that, but he's not got what it really takes to thrive in the Premier League. So, for me, I think if we sign a proper DM like a Babakare Sumare, or obviously we've been linked to Declan Rice, I think having someone who can really play that position would help him. And I don't want to delve into this topic too much, but I think in future we could actually see this season Reece James starting as a DM behind Kante.
Reece James?
Yeah, he's played that position before with Wigan. We also tried it for 10 minutes at the end of the Brighton game. So I think that's something we could see in the not too distant future. So we'll wait and see. But as for Kante, I mean, he's still the best player by far in this team. And for me, the first name on the team sheet easily.
All right, guys, man. Look, man. Again, thank you for my Chelsea flipping vote from Avengers for forming. Daniel, you're a Chelsea hardcore fan. Stop hiding from it. I'm the complex Chelsea fan. Okay, it is what it is.
You said we like it's French. So
bloody French. Okay, you're cool. You got like a flipping first class A star in French in flipping University of Stanford, man. Relax, chill. You don't need to show off, man. So look, guys, thank you very much. So look, it is what it is, guys. You know, hopefully we can see these guys back here doing their thing and so forth. And on my final word in this whole thing is that for Liverpool, well done. I believe Liverpool will defend their title because of Klopp, because I still rate Klopp as probably still the best manager in the world. And when you have guys like Mane and Salah scoring the goals that they can do, and the winning mentality of this team, I just think it would be too much. So defender or no defender, I still say Liverpool to defend the title. And as for Chelsea, I said this from the start of the beginning. I am here for Ziyech. And my excitement has always been for Ziyech. So until that's the guy I root for, I was never a Kai Havertz dude. I was never a Timo Werner dude. I was never any of these dudes. I was like, they're good, but I was always been Ziyech. That's my guy. So once Ziyech comes and does his thing, that is when Chelsea will fully say what's up. Guys, peace out. Stay true. Stay real. And your boys are. Peace out. Peace. Become a Patreon member. Get access to my blog. Get access to exclusive videos, and also get access to the podcast, to the Saturday and the Sunday hangouts. Head over to patreon.com/halfwop to gain all these goodies while also supporting your boy